So we are now on lesson number 2. So what we are going to discuss today for lesson number 2 are what we call the 6 trigonometric ratios. Hello guys! So this is another day that you will learn or possibly learn something new. Well, I am always hoping that my students will learn something uh, about the lesson from me. I am always hoping that. Well, nothing is impossible, ika nga nila, di ba? And there's no harm in trying. So that's why kahit na nahihirapan tayo, still laban lang. So you'll never know, di ba? One of these days, baka sakali, di ba? May uh, matuto kayo or may pumasok sa inyo na na learnings na tinuro natin in math, di ba? So just don't lose hope. So kung hindi mo siya maintindihan, kung hindi mo maintindihan ibang lessons, maybe the other lessons easy for you to understand. So just be positive. Always think that you can do it. So always think that you will learn math. So ganun lang, always think positive. Okay? So let's continue our discussion for today. So we are on triangle trigonometry. Sabi nga natin, di ba, yung fourth grading natin is about trigonometry, particularly about triangle trigonometry. So we are now on lesson number 2. So what we are going to discuss today for lesson number 2 are what we call the 6 trigonometric ratios. So these 6 trigonometric ratios, this is very important in our lesson as we move on discussing more topics about this fourth grading period. So dapat we have to know these 6 trigonometric ratios. It's just like these are basic things that you have to know before we proceed to more complex things. So we have to learn first these 6 trigonometric ratios. So ano pa hinihintay natin? So let's start it now. So before we proceed on knowing the 6 trigonometric ratios, so it is very important that we should know first the 6 trigonometric functions. Because from these 6 trigonometric functions, dito magsisimula na tinatawag nating 6 trigonometric ratios. So ano-ano ba yung 6 trigonometric functions na yan? So ito yung 6 trigonometric functions. Una is sine. Di yan sine That's sine, which uses the symbol SIN. So kung may kita nyo na calculator, may kita nyo symbol na SIN doon. So that is pertaining to the trigonometric function na sine. Number 2 is cosine. Cosine naman is using the symbol COS or small letter COS. Small letter yan. Then, the third one is tangent. Tangent is using the symbol TAN. This sine, cosine, and tangent, ito yung 3 basic trigonometric functions. So the 3 basic trigonometric functions. Bakit natin sabi ganun? Because yung other 3 trigonometric functions are just the opposite of that first 3 trigonometric functions. Bakit natin sinasabing opposite? So yung number 4, later on we'll find out. So yung number 4 is what we call as the cosecant. Cosecant, which uses the symbol CSC. Number 5 is secant, which uses the symbol SEC. Then number 6 is the cotangent, which uses the symbol COT. So from these six trigonometric functions, there we will form yung tinatawag nating 6 trigonometric ratios. Since we are talking about ratio, so we are dealing here with a fraction. So what is it? what are those trigonometric ratios that we are pertaining to with which uses these 6 trigonometric functions. So isa-isahin natin yung anim na yon. So unahin natin yung sine. So with this given triangle here, this given right triangle, triangle ABC, and this angle A, ang opposite niya ay side A. So small letter for the side, capital letter for the angle. Angle B, ang opposite side niya ay B or side B. Then angle C, ang opposite side niya ay side C. So since it's a right triangle, so obviously that side C is what we call as the hypotenuse. And these two legs here, or these A and B here, are called as the legs. So with regards to angle A, so dito tayo, with regards to angle A, pwede naman natin gamitin yung ibang mga angle, just like angle B for example. So with regards to angle A, so if we want to find out sine A, for example, or sine A, so all you have to do, the ratio that we will form should be opposite over hypotenuse. That should be opposite over hypotenuse. Again so para maintindihan natin, with regards to angle A, itong angle na to what is the side opposite that angle? That is angle A. So that should be A over the hypotenuse. Of course, the hypotenuse is the longest side in a right triangle, diba? So that is C. So that if we are going to apply sine A, it will be equal to opposite over hypotenuse, which is equal to A over C, if we are going to make use of the letters that being used in the given right triangle. Now, if pwede natin gamitin sine B, kung sine B ang gusto natin, or we want to use angle B and we are looking for sine B, opposite over hypotenuse, opposite niya is B over hypotenuse, that would be C. So we do have B over C. So depending on what angle is you are pertaining to. So since we are pertaining to angle A here, so it's the same way that we can get the ratio with the application of opposite over hypotenuse. So just look first for the opposite side of it, then the hypotenuse. Then you can form the ratio, which is here, we can come up with A over C as the ratio. That is for sine. What if what, how about cosine? So cosine naman, with regards to the same given right triangle, and with regards to angle A pa rin tayo with regards to angle A, and if you want to find out cosine A, so cosine A is equal to, sabi ito, adjacent over hypotenuse. That is adjacent over hypotenuse. What is that? What is adjacent means? So adjacent is the side closer to angle A, the angle that we are pertaining to. The side closer to angle A, other than the hypotenuse, is the side B. So that's adjacent, that would be B, over the hypotenuse, that would be C. So that's why if we want to find out cosine A, we can form the ratio B over C, or in the same way we have applied adjacent over hypotenuse. So yun yung cosine. Next, how about tangent? So with the same given right triangle, and with regards to the given angle A, or with regards to angle A pa rin tayo, if we want to find out tangent A. So tangent, we can form a ratio by simply applying opposite over adjacent. Opposite over adjacent. With regards to this angle A, you want to find out the opposite side of it, that would be A over the adjacent side, which is B. The adjacent side is the side closer to that angle other than the hypotenuse. So that's opposite over adjacent. That is for tangent. So if we want to find out the trigonometric ratio for tangent, so it should be tangent is equal to opposite over adjacent, which is equal to A over B. So all you have to do is to apply the trigonometric ratio opposite over adjacent when we are pertaining to tangent. So, in order for you to easily remember these first three trigonometric ratios, we do have a simple way of calling them. So, tinatawag natin yon as SOHCAHTOA. Ang tawag natin doon ay SOHCAHTOA. That's SOHCAHTOA. SOHCAHTOA, SOH stands for sine is equal to opposite over hypotenuse. CAH, that's SOHCAHTOA. SOHCA, cosine is equal to adjacent over hypotenuse, while TOA stands for tangent is equal to opposite over adjacent. So we made use of a symbol na tinatawag natin theta. So that theta is a Greek letter. So pwede natin siyang ipalit when we don't know, when we do have an concrete name for the angle. So since wala naman tayong given triangle, so we can make use of this Greek letter na theta. So again, the simple way of calling this first three trigonometric ratios so that we can easily remember it is yung tinatawag nating SOHCAHTOA. So, speaking of SOHCAHTOA, use SOHCAHTOA in a sentence. What would be it? Use it. So, SOHCAHTOA. Dito, ang sobrang katamaran ay walang matututuhan. Diba? Diba tama? Ang sobrang katamaran ay walang matututuhan. That is SOHCAHTOA. Corny, no? Next. So let's proceed to the next three trigonometric ratios. So sabi natin kanina, yung first three trigonometric ratios are the three basic trigonometric ratios. Yung last three, that is their opposites. At sabi natin opposite. So ano yung ngayon yung unahin natin yung cosecant para malaman natin na opposite nga siya. Cosecant is the opposite of sine. So, with regards to angle A, same given triangle tayo na. With regards to angle A, and if we want to find out cosecant A, it should be equal to hypotenuse over opposite. So, na-remember nyo ba kanina yung sine? Di ba ang sine? So, sine is equal to opposite over hypotenuse. So, pagbaliktarin mo yon, so you come up with the trigonometric ratio na tinatawag na nating cosecant. So, with regards to angle A, so, ang cosecant A is equal to hypotenuse over opposite. So, this angle, so this is the hypotenuse, that is C, over opposite, which is A. So, that will come up with the ratio as C over A with this given right triangle. So, we just simply apply hypotenuse over opposite as the trigonometric ratio for cosecant. Kuha yun, nakasunod. Again, cosecant is the opposite of sine. Next, secant is the opposite of cosine. So, with this given right triangle again, and with regards to angle A, if we want to find out secant A, simply apply the trigonometric ratio hypotenuse over adjacent. Hypotenuse over adjacent. Do you remember the cosine? Di ba cosine? Ka. Cosine is equal to adjacent over hypotenuse. So you reverse it, that ratio, you'll have the trigonometric ratio na tinatawag nating secant. So secant, and with regards to that angle A, so it will be equal to hypotenuse over adjacent. So kung kukunin natin yung ratio niya with this given triangle, so it should be hypotenuse, that would be C, over adjacent, which is B. That's why we come up with C over B here. So that is the trigonometric ratio for secant, which is again hypotenuse over adjacent. Next, the last is the what we call cotangent. So you already have an idea kung ang cosecant opposite ng sine, kung ang secant opposite niya ay opposite ng cosine, ang cotangent, ang opposite niya ay tangent. Yan ay ka-opposite ng tangent. Di ba ang tangent, TOA, opposite over adjacent. So ang cotangent is adjacent over opposite. So if we want to find out cotangent A with regards to angle A here in this given right triangle, so if you want to apply adjacent over opposite, so it should be B over the opposite side is A. So that will come up that's why you come up with B over A as the trigonometric ratio, as the ratio of cotangent A. That is by simply applying the trigonometric ratio for cotangent, which is equal to adjacent over opposite. Pero syempre, yung huling tatlong trigonometric ratios, hindi yan papatalo doon sa unang tatlo. Kung merong simple way of calling yung first three trigonometric ratios, meron din yung last three trigonometric ratios. So, ang simple way of calling them so that we can easily remember them are Choshakaw. Pwede natin siyang tawagin Choshakaw. So, it sounds Chinese, but it's very effective to remember these last three trigonometric ratios. So ano ba yan? Cho stands for cosecant is equal to hypotenuse over opposite. Sha stands for secant is equal to hypotenuse over adjacent. Then cow stands for cotangent is equal to adjacent over opposite. At mas lalong hindi papatalo ang Choshakaw. Diba? Kung may use in a sentence ang Sokatawa, meron din ang Choshakaw. So, use Choshakaw in a sentence. Use it, Choshakaw. Tumali na, siya talakayan, at kau ay sasaya. Diba? Diba? Pag ano naman talaga, pag you are, tawag doon, masaya, pag gusto mo yung lesson, 'di ba? You are excited. And syempre, if you are excited, masaya ka, 'di ba? So kaya chomali na, siya talakayan at kau ay sasaya. At mas lalong hindi papatalo ang chosyakaw. Kasi ang chosyakaw, yung sokatawa, used in a sentence lang eh. Ang chosyakaw, may knock-knock pa yun. So knock-knock. Who's there? Who's there? Choshakaw. Choshakaw who? Choshakaw who? Choshakaw. Huwag sanang magtampo. Chori, pwede ba buhay ko'y nasa'yo? Matitiis mo ba akaw? Oh, baby. Choshakaw. That is Choshakaw. So, di ba, hindi pa papari yan. May nakdak pa nga sila eh. Di ba? So, to sum it up, the six trigonometric ratios are una, yung Sokatowa, while the last three are the Choshakaw. Yun lang remember natin, Sokatowa and Choshakaw. Sokatowa, that's for sine is equal to opposite over hypotenuse. Cosine is equal to adjacent over hypotenuse, while tangent is equal to opposite over adjacent. While Choshakaw is for cosecant is equal to hypotenuse over opposite, secant is equal to hypotenuse over adjacent, then cotangent is equal to adjacent over opposite. Now, let's make use of these trigonometric ratios in solving for an example. So let's have example here. So we do have here given triangle. So let's call it triangle XYZ with the sides small letters XYZ also. Of course, madali nyo malaman. Kung angle X yon, ang katapat niyang side ay side X. Kung angle Y yon, ang katapat niyang side ay side Y. Kung ang angle C, ang katapat niyang side ay side C. Hindi pwedeng magkaiba yon na angle X dito, tapos ang katapat niya, angle Y. So, hindi pwedeng iba. So, dapat yung po. Ano yung angle na yon? Ang katapat niya is the small letter of that capital letter na angle. So, With this given figure, sabi dito, given the measure of angle x, ito daw, angle x measures 35 degrees. Then side x, obviously, that's kapag maliit na letter, that means we are pertaining to the side. So x is equal to 12 centimeters. So what we are going to do is to find y, z, and the measure of angle z. So itong dalawa lang given natin. Measure ng angle x daw ay 35 degrees. Measure ng side x ay 12 centimeters. What we are looking for are the measure of y, z, and angle Z. So, hindi na natin sinama yung Y because since right triangle nga yan, of course, we already know the measure of that angle Y. So, let's start solving for the unknown or the things that we are looking for in the problem. So, let's start first solving for Y. So, dito na natin gagamitin yung trigonometric ratio. To solve for, basically, the trigonometric ratios that we are using are the three basic trigonometric ratios. So, yung usual na ginagamit na trigonometric ratios. Kaya nga sila yung sinabi ni ba na the basic trigonometric ratios. Kasi yung last three, that is just their opposites of the trigonometric ratio. So, to solve for y, so, alamin natin given. Ang given natin, we do have a given measure of angle which is 35 degrees. Doon tayo nakabase. Magbe-base tayo sa given angle. So, with regards to this given angle and the other given na 12 centimeter which is the measure of side x. So, with regards to angle x, ang side x is its opposite side. And how about the one we are looking for? Side y. Side y is the hypotenuse. So, if we are going to analyze it, measure of angle x na given, ang isa pang given ay side x which is the opposite side, and the one we are looking for is the y which is the hypotenuse. That would be opposite over hypotenuse. So what trigonometric ratio is that? That means we are going to make use of the trigonometric ratio for sine. So, since given yung measure ng angle na 35 degrees, when you use trigonometric ratio sine, you will right away attach the measure of the angle. So, you will write sine 35 degrees is equal to opposite over hypotenuse, di ba? What's the measure of the opposite side? X is equal to 12. That's why 12 over the hypotenuse is y. So, y is what we are looking for. So, again, since given yung measure ng angle, once you write the function, the trigonometric function, you have to attach right away the measure of the angle. It should be sine. So since we know that we are going to make use of sine, so attach there the measure of the angle. At sine 35 degrees is equal to opposite over hypotenuse, that will be 12 over y. Then from there, you can use cross multiplication because sine 35 degrees is sine 35 degrees over 1. So you can use cross multiplication. Sine 35 degrees times y, you come up with sine 35 degrees y or y sine 35 degrees. Kapresan yun. Then 12 times 1, you come up with 12. So that's why magiging ganito. So parehas lang yung dalawang yan You can put y doon sa unahan or pwede rin naman sa hulihan. Then, since y is what we are looking for and it's still accompanied by sine 35 degrees, you still have to divide both sides of the equation by sine 35 degrees. In that way, this sine 35 degrees will be cancelled out so that y will be left. Then, we just going to find out the value of this. So, dito nyo nagagamitin yung scientific calculator nyo. So, paano gagawin? So, just simply apply this. So, just press on your calculator. Meron dyan na fraction na kung yung calculator niya medyo latest, meron dyan fraction. Kung ganun, sulat nyo lang yan sa ibabaw at sa denominator. Kung wala naman, just simply press 12, then divided by, press sign, yung SIN na symbol there, then press 35, then press yung DMS. Yung iba nakasulat DMS, yung iba naman yung may degree, yung parang quit tapos dalawang ganon. Yung zero, yung degree sign, isang ganon, tapos dalawa. That's the symbol for DMS. So you just have to press that, then press equal, you'll come up with the value of y. So if you are going to do that, you'll come up with the value of y which is equal to y which is equal to 20.92 centimeters. So try nyo on your calculator if you got the same answer. So we should come up with the final answer if it's in decimals in 2 decimal places. So i-round off natin siya in 2 decimal places. So since may unit of measurement involved, so it should be in terms of that unit of measurement. So the given unit of measurement is centimeters, so it should be in terms of centimeters. So y is equal to 20.92 centimeters. So that's the value of y. Okay, let's proceed now on solving for z. So to solve for z, again, let's take a look at this given and the given measurement in the problem. So the measure of angle x with regards to this given measure of angle x measures 35 degrees and side x measures 12 centimeter. How is it related to that side z? So if you're going to analyze it, this given measure of angle and this side that is its opposite side, and this side that we are looking for is its adjacent side. So, kung a-analyze pa ng mas mabuti, so malalaman mo that we are pertaining to one trigonometric ratio na tinatawag nating tangent, which is opposite over adjacent. So, since we know that we are going to make use of the trigonometric ratio na tangent, so sabi natin, once na sinulat mo yung tangent, you will attach right away the measure of the angle, if the measure of the angle is given. So, it should be, since tangent is what we are looking for, that to be opposite over adjacent. So, that should be tangent 35 degrees is equal to opposite, that would be 12 over adjacent, which is z. Then, just like what we did on solving for y, we do cross multiplication over 1 to eh. So, tangent 35 degrees times z, that would be tangent 35 degrees z, or z tangent 35 degrees. Then, 12 times 1, it should be 12. So, magiging ganito. The tangent 35 degrees z is equal to 12. So, since z is what we are looking for, and it's still accompanied by tangent 35 degrees, so we still have to divide both sides of the equation by tangent 35 degrees. So, ma-cancel out yung 35 degrees na yun, matitira is z. Just like what we did here, ganun din yung gagawin natin. So, using calculator, so just simply press 12, press divide, then press tangent, followed by 35, then the degree symbol, yung DMS, yung ganun din, sinabi natin kanina. Then press equals. So that you'll find out for the value of C, which is equal to 17.14 centimeters. Again, kapag decimal sinukuha natin sagot, you are going to round that to 2 decimal places. You round up to 2 decimal places. So it should be 17.14. Did you get the same answer as that? So if not, try to do it again. So baka may mali kayo na pindot or may mali kayong na ilagay. So dapat ang maging sagot ay 17.14 centimeters. So that's how we get for the value of Z. So isa lang hinahanap natin. That is for the measure of angle Z. So medyo sa pagkuha ng measure of angle Z, medyo madali na lang. Bakit? Kasi two of the measures of the angles are already given. Given a measure ng angle X which is equal to 35 degrees, given a measure ng angle Y. Since we know that it's right triangle, so that angle Y measures 90 degrees. And we know that the total measure of the interior angles of a triangle is equal to 180 degrees. So all you have to do for you to find or to solve for the measure of angle C, if you want to come up with a solution for it. So to find measure of angle C, that measure of angle C plus 90 degrees, which is the measure of angle Y, plus 35 degrees, which is the measure of angle X, equal daw dapat yun into 180 degrees. So add the two for us to find for the measure of angle C, 90 degrees plus 35 degrees will come up with 125 degrees. Then to solve for measure of angle C, move lang natin yung 125 degrees to the right side of the equation. So it will become minus when you move it there. So magiging 180 degrees minus 125 degrees. So therefore, we can come up now with the measure of angle Z. So the measure of angle Z now is equal to 55 degrees. Na dapat pag inad mo yung tatlong measure ng angles, it will be equal to 180 degrees. So hindi natin kailangan gumamit ng trigonometric ratio when it comes to the measure of angle Z. Kasi given naman na yung measure of the two angles, so ibig sabihin, we can already find out for the measure of the third angle by simply adding the measure of the two angles and subtracting it with 180 degrees because the total measure of the interior angles of triangle is equal to 180 degrees. So you'll get the measure of the third angle. So that's why here we get the measure of angle C, which is equal to 55 degrees. So did you get example number 1? If not yet, let's proceed to example number 2. Same given figure. So the given here, x is equal to 25 centimeter. This side measures 25 centimeter. Y is equal to 40 centimeter. So y is the hypotenuse. So find z, measure of angle x, and measure of angle z. Given yung measure of the two sides of that right triangle. So we are looking for the measure of the third side. So going back to our discussion about right triangle, we have discussed there yung tinatawag natin Pythagorean theorem. Wherein, if you do have a given right triangle and two sides of that triangle are given, the measure of the two sides of the right triangle are given, so we can find the third side by using the Pythagorean theorem. Diba yung Pythagorean theorem, it states that the square of the hypotenuse is equal to the sum of the squares of its legs. Na pwede natin siyang gawin din na C is equal to the square root of A squared plus B squared. But in the case of this, Y, which is the hypotenuse, is already given. So what we are looking for sa madaling salita is the other leg. So di ba, we come up also with the formula if the leg is what we are looking for. That is just by simply the leg that we are looking for is equal to the square root of the square of the hypotenuse minus the square of the other leg. So, medyo papalitan na rin natin instead of using A, B, and C, we're going to make use X, Y, and Z here because that is the given variable in this given triangle. So, Z is what we are looking for. So, to solve for Z, so what we are going to do is to apply the formula Z is equal to the square root of Y squared minus X squared. So nakuha natin yan by analyzing yung Pythagorean theorem. So since the leg is what we are looking for and Y there is the hypotenuse, so it should be the square root of the square of the hypotenuse minus the square of the other leg. So, given yung value ng x and y in the problem, so that will come up with, what we are going to do is just simply substitute it. So, we'll have z is equal to the square root of 40 squared minus 25 squared. 40 is the value of y, that's the hypotenuse, minus 25 squared. 40 squared is 1,600, then 25 squared is equal to 625. So, magkakaroon tayo ng square root or z is equal to the square root of 1,600 minus 625. Then subtract it, we'll come up with the value of z which is equal to the square root of 975. And again, using your calculator, what would be the square root of 975? So we'll come up with the value of z which is equal to 31.22 centimeters. So, looking at its value, 31, still, mas malaki pa rin yung value ng y, which is because that is the longest side in that right triangle. And since, titignan mo yun, that's the longer leg, so ibig sabihin, mas malaki yung value niya than x because x is the shorter leg. Okay? So that's how we solve for the value of z. Now, let's solve for, this time, for the measure of angle x. So, to solve for the measure of angle x, so, alamin mo ulit kung anong trigonometric ratio yung gagamitin mo. So dito kasi, hindi natin kailangan gumamit ng trigonometric ratio. Because given na yung two sides, so we can get the third side by using Pythagorean theorem. So dito tayo, balik tayo on using trigonometric ratio. For the measure of angle x, this is the angle that we are going to look for, that we are looking for. So ito yung measure na hinahanap natin. And ang given natin yung side x saka side y. With regards to that angle that we are looking for, ano yung relationship niya with the given measure of the sides. So, kinahanglan natin angle x, ang side x is its opposite, while the other given y is its hypotenuse. Opposite over hypotenuse. So, ano yon? That means we are pertaining to side. Opposite over hypotenuse. So, we are pertaining to side. Since hindi pa given yung measure ng angle, sabi natin kanina, kapag sinulat natin yung trigonometric function, kasunod na agad yung measure ng angle. So since what we are looking for is angle x, yung x ang ilalagay natin. So instead of writing the measure of the angle, so it should be sine x is equal to opposite x is 25 over hypotenuse, which is 40. So using your calculator, what is 25 divided by 40? So we'll come up with sine x, which is equal to 0.625. Ngayon, what you are looking for is the measure of the angle. So what you are going to do to find for the measure of angle, so just follow my instruction. What you are going to do, una, press shift, followed by sign, press shift, press sign, then press 0.625. Again, press shift, press sign, then press 0.625, then press equals. So, makukuha mong ang lalabas dyan ay measure ng angle x, which is equal to 38.68. Ang lalabas dyan, yung measure in decimals. So, para ma-transform siya into the measure which is in terms of degrees, so pindutin mo ngayon yung DMS. Yung DMS na letter doon, o kaya yung degree, yung ganon, tsaka yung dalawa. So, may symbol dyan na ganon, pindutin mo yon, magiging in degree form yan. So, pag pindut mo yon, yung 38.68, magiging ang measure ng angle x natin is equal to 38 degrees, 40 minutes, and 55.87 seconds. Di ba sabi natin when we discuss lesson number 1, na tayo conversion dun, di ba? In degrees, minutes, and seconds. So, ginagamit natin yon in if the measure of the angle is not exact. So, usually kapag ang measure ng angle ay decimals, yung whole number doon, ayun yung degrees niya. Pero for you to be specific, kung gusto makuha yung exact measure of the angle, so pindutin mo yung DMS, so you'll come up with 38 degrees, 40 minutes, and 55.87 seconds. So that would be the measure of angle x. So did you get that? So now, let's find out for the measure of angle Z. So to solve for the measure of angle Z, given na ulit yung dalawang measure of the angle. Itong angle na to, which is 90 degrees, tsaka itong angle na to. So just like what we did on the first example kanina, so yung measure ng angle X, should be measure of angle X, so a typographical error lang ulit, measure of angle X plus 90 degrees, plus 38 degrees, 40 minutes, and 55.87 seconds equal to 180 degrees. So, i-add natin yung dalawang to, will come up with 128 degrees, 40 minutes, and 55.87 seconds. So, that will come up with the measure of angle Z. Angle Z, tama naman pala, measure of angle Z. So, measure of angle Z is equal to 180. Kasi move natin yung 128 degrees, 40 minutes, and 55.87 seconds to the right side, magiging minus yon. So, 180 degrees minus 128 degrees, 40 minutes, 55.87 seconds. So we'll come up with the answer, which is measure of angle Z, which is equal to 51 degrees, 19 minutes, and 4.13 seconds. So ngayon, baka may tatanong, paano pindutin yung 128 degrees, 40 minutes, and 55.87 seconds? Doon ulit yung DMS na sinasabi ko sa inyo, yung degree, ganon, tapos yung ganon. So, press 128, pindutin yun, yung DMS, press 40, pindutin ulit yung DMS, lalabas naman yung kasunod na nun, minutes. Then, pindutin yung 55.87, then press again the DMS, lalabas naman yung seconds. So, ganun ang how we press that on a scientific calculator. Siyempre, unamin 180 degrees minus this. So you'll end up with 51 degrees, 19 minutes, and 4.13 seconds. So that's how we answer example number 2. So example number 2 nga lang, hindi exact yung measure ng angle na nakuha natin kasi nakadepende yon on the given measure of the sides. Kaya iba rin yung measure ng angle natin. Hindi exact yung measure ng angle. Kasi one of the sides hindi exact yung measure, which is 31.22 centimeters. So nakuha example number 2. So kung hindi pa rin, let's try another example. So let's have example number 3 with the same given figure. So this time the given is measure of angle Z daw. This angle naman, ito naman yung given measure. Measure ng angle Z ay 25 degrees and 30 minutes. Then the measure of side Y, ito yung hypotenuse is equal to 200 centimeters. So find X, Z, and measure of angle X. So unahin natin to find or to solve for side X. So ito. So hanapin natin. Ang may given measure ng angle, yung angle C. So dito tayo ngayon naka-base. Dito tayo naka-base. Kung ano yung given measure of angle, doon tayo mag-base. So, with regards to this given measure of angle, how is it related to this side na hinahanap natin? That is its adjacent side. How about this side na isang given? That is its hypotenuse. So, adjacent hypotenuse. So, what trigonometric ratio is that? So, that means we are pertaining to cosine. Adjacent over hypotenuse. So, in order for us to solve for x, we're going to make use of cosine at trigonometric ratio. So, again, since given yung measure ng angle, so when we write trigonometric function, we attach right away the measure of the angle. So, that's why we come up with cosine 25 degrees 30 minutes is equal to adjacent, that is x, over hypotenuse, which is 200. Then do the cross multiplication over 1 yan. Obviously, x times 1, that would be x, is equal to cosine 25 degrees 30 minutes times 200. It should be 200 cosine 25 degrees 30 minutes. Then just type that on a calculator for you to, a scientific calculator for you to find for the value of x. So just simply, iba kasi directly na eh. Pero kung gusto mo to make it safe, so just press 200, press times because we are multiplying them. Press times, then press cos, then press 25 DMS, 30 DMS. Kasi 25 degrees and 30 minutes yun eh. 25, tapos degree, yung symbol again na yon. Then 30, yun ulit yung pipilitin yung symbol na yon, 4 minutes. Then press equal. You'll come up with the value of x, which is equal to 180.52 centimeters. So yun yung magiging value of x. That will become the value of x. So x is equal to 180.52 centimeters. So did you get that? Did you get the same answer as that? So hopefully, yes, if you follow yung right key to press in a scientific calculator, so you'll end up with the same answer as mine, na 180.52 centimeters. So that's how we solve for x. Next, let's solve for z. So solve for z, again, balik tayo dito. So, ang given measure ng angle natin is angle z. So, to solve for z, since z is what we are looking for, z is its opposite side. And the given y, the hypotenuse is the hypotenuse, the value of y, the other given value na y, that is its hypotenuse. So, that should be opposite over hypotenuse. So, what trigonometric ratio is that? That is sine. Opposite over hypotenuse. Diba? So, sine ang gagamitin natin. Given yung measure ng angle, so it should be sine 25 degrees 30 minutes is equal to opposite over hypotenuse, so c over 200. So, same way ng solving ng ginawa natin sa x. So, we'll come up with cross multiplication 12 over 1 to, so 1 times z. It should be z equal to 200 sine 25 degrees 30 minutes. Then press in the calculator, 200, press sine, press 200, press times, press sine 25, tapos DMS 30, DMS, then press equals. You'll come up with the value of Z, which is equal to 86.10 centimeters. So did you get that example? Did you get on how we find for the value of Z? So now, saan na kailangan natin kunin? Find for the measure of angle X. So paano naman kunin yung measure ng angle X? So given na yung measure ng dalawang angle ulit. So ayun na yun, measure ng dalawang angle. So given na yung measure niya, so let's find out for the measure of the third angle. So for the measure of angle X, so measure ng angle X plus 90 degrees plus 25 degrees at 30 minutes is equal to 180 degrees. Then add the two, we come up with 115 degrees and 30 minutes. Move 115 degrees and 30 minutes to the right side. So magiging 180 degrees minus 115 degrees and 30 minutes. So therefore, the measure of angle X is equal to 64 degrees and 30 minutes. So that's how we answer example number 3. Any questions? Kasi in example number 3, we are using same given figure. What if we are going to make this other figure? Iba naman. So let's try this example number 4. So dito iba naman siya. So number 4, given is triangle M and P. Then side angle M katapat ay side M, which is the hypotenuse. Angle P katapat ay side P, angle N katapat ay side N. So ang given natin, measure ng angle N is equal to 50 degrees and 12 minutes, while the measure of side M is equal to 94 centimeters. Find P, N, and measure of angle P. Unahin natin to find for the measure of side P. Solve for P. So this is what we are looking for. Ano yung may given natin? Side, measure ng angle N. So ito yon. With regards to this given measure of angle N, anong trigonometric ratio ang pwede natin gamitin para ma-solve yung value ng P, measure ng P. So, with regards to this angle N and yung given na M, ito yung given na isa. With regards to this angle N, how is it related to this side? Ito ay kanyang adjacent side. While this side M, yung isang given natin is the hypotenuse. So, adjacent and hypotenuse. So, anong trigonometric ratio yon? That means we are dealing with cosine. So, cosine yung gagamitin natin. So, since given yung measure ng angle, attach right away, measure ng angle. So, it should be cosine 50 degrees, 12 minutes is equal to adjacent over hypotenuse, which is P over 94. Then, cross multiply. Tulad na ginawa natin, P times 1 dito kasi over 1 to, P is equal to 94 cosine 50 degrees and 12 minutes. Then, on your calculator, just press 94 times cosine, then press 50, DMS, 12, DMS, then press equals. So you'll come up with the value of P, which is equal to 60.17 centimeters. That's how we solve for P. Next, to solve for N, so to solve for N, balik tayo dito. Ang given measure natin, ito, measure ng angle N at M. So we are looking for N. So that is opposite over hypotenuse. Opposite and hypotenuse, that means we are pertaining to the trigonometric ratio na sine. So, ano lang natin yon? Given measure ng angle, attach agad natin. So, we'll come up with sine 50 degrees, 12 minutes is equal to N over 94. Then, cross multiply again, magkakaroon tayo ng N is equal to 94 sine 50 degrees, 12 minutes. So, ganun din. So, to solve for N, press 94 times, press sine, then 50 DMS, 12 DMS, then press equals. You'll end up with the value of N, which is equal to 72.22 centimeters. Then lastly, to solve for the measure of angle P. Again, the two measures of the angles are already given, so we can make use of that. So measure of angle P plus 90 degrees plus 50 degrees and 12 minutes is equal to 180 degrees. Add the 90 and plus 50 degrees and 12 minutes. Meron tayo 140 degrees and 12 minutes. Move that to the right side of the equation, magiging minus 140 degrees and 12 minutes. So 180 degrees minus 140 degrees and 12 minutes, you'll come up with the measure of angle P, which is equal to 39 degrees and 48 minutes. So that's how we solve example number 4. Do you have any questions? So if none, that would be all for today. Nagustuhan nyo yung video na to, so just hit like, share this video, and also subscribe IGOP Lord official channel. So, importante is for you to subscribe the IGOP Lord official channel. And also, don't forget to comment down below if you do have anything to say. So, hanggang sa muli, goodbye!